Hello, welcome to your Google Journey certification for Level 1 certification. We're glad that you're all joining us today live via YouTube. And we do have a slide projected right now. We're going to go through a presentation today all about getting Level 1 certified as a Level 1 Google certification. So if you want to follow along today, I highly recommend that you type into your browser bit.ly/your Google Journey. And it's down at the bottom of the slide that's being projected on your screen right now. That just gives you access to the slideshow that we've created for today's journey. So we do expect this to last about 2 hours. We won't go over 2 hours. We'll respect your time. We will give you an attendance form at the end of this broadcast to fill out. So we'll put that on the screen and you'll be typing in a bit.ly for that as well. So we're glad you're joining us today. And without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started with some introductions. So I'm Norm Peckham from the district's Educational Technology Department. And I've been doing this now. This will be my 8th year next school year. Before that, I was a teacher at Carson Junior High. I taught social studies, and before that, I taught ELA. And with me today, I'm going to turn it over to Marie. And Marie?
Good morning, I'm Marie Smith, and I'm also with Educational Technology. I have been in the district for, I think 16 years. This is my 5th year in Educational Technology. I have experience teaching elementary, so K through 4. Right now I support Red Mountain, Shepherd, Fremont, Mesa Academy, and I'm super happy to be here. And I'm going to turn it over to Brad.
And I'm Brad Peterson. I am another educational technology trainer. I am at Skyline High School, and so my focus is to support Skyline High School and kind of all their feeder schools within that. I taught at Fremont Junior High science and engineering for several years, along with some video production stuff. But I'm super happy to be here this morning to show you guys kind of the ins and outs of fun things to do with Google. And so good morning, by the way, and we'll toss it over to Lauren.
Good morning. My name is Lauren Woke, and I just finished my 1st year on Mesa's awesome ed tech team. Prior to that, I was an instructional technology coach for Scottsdale Unified School District. And before that, I was a technology staff developer for New York City Public Schools, but I began my career in education as a 4th grade teacher at a public school in Brooklyn, New York. And thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome.
Yeah, and before I turn it over to Brad for the next part of our presentation, I am appreciative of the fact that a lot of you are introducing yourselves in the chat stream by name, school, and grade level. Please keep in mind that you do have the chat stream in YouTube, and we will be able to see your chats and what you are saying in there. Because of the large number of people watching live, we have, I believe, almost 300 of you watching. We will not be able to get to every question in the chat stream, but if we see a good question in there, we definitely want to address it. But we will be able to look at these chats after the broadcast, and we will be able to email you some answers to your questions. So feel free to use the chat. Please remember, though, that in the time that we have, we may not be able to get to everyone's questions. So just be aware of that. And with the chat stream, this is being recorded, so we'll be able to see it later, as will other people. So just keep in mind that. And if you need to watch this broadcast again, you can do that. You do have until the 5th of June, Friday, to watch it and turn in your attendance form for the program of study if you're watching it for those purposes. And I am going to turn it over to Brad now.
Perfect. Well, once again, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and participating in this. The cool thing about this is kind of like a first time experience, for us presenting it this way. A lot of times, we present these in person, but to be able to connect and have, over 300 of you guys kind of in one place and us being able to do it this way, it just is, I think it's a cool experience, but also a cool opportunity because it allows us to really reach more people than what we could. We can't fit 300 in a room, but we can definitely fit this many in here. So, so we're excited for that. But we have a kind of fantastic morning planned out for you that really is going to give you tips and tricks and resources to help you become a better Google educator. And that really is the focus for today. It's just equipping you with things that you can do moving forward, and especially in this just kind of unprecedented but different time. It's good, I think, to have tools and things that will help us move forward as our learning environment has definitely changed. So this is the link to the agenda for this morning. And so you can go to bit.ly/MPS journey, and that will take you kind of to our agenda that lays out everything that we're going to go through today. But more than that, it just kind of gives you a roadmap of those tips and tricks and resources that you'll need that we're going to show you, but you'll kind of need to know to help you go down this path of being a Google educator. So when you click on the link, it takes you to our agenda. So our agenda for today is, like I said, kind of based off of a roadmap, and how today is going to flow is we're going to kind of go through the powerhouse components of Google, kind of the main components that you need to know as an educator, to give you a good foundation. And so obviously we're starting off with our welcome, and we're going to go through a couple of things, and then you can see we've got different challenges listed for you. And those challenges are meant to kind of help you not only kind of show what you know, but also really to challenge you. And there might be some things in there that you never thought that tool could do that function. And so we're going to go through, like I said, kind of the core components of the Google suite of programs. And after, kind of giving you this challenge, then we're going to walk you through kind of how you can accomplish that challenge if you don't know, and then we'll give you some resources and show you resources that are available so that you can do that. But this is kind of the checklist. So if you notice, it'll, when you clicked on it, how do you make a copy? So you can make a copy of, go through and make a copy of this. But one thing I want to show you that might be helpful for you as we're going through this, because all of these different challenges actually kind of lead you toward the goal of completing your Google Certified Level 1. So with Google, there are multiple levels of certification. There's Level 1, which is what you guys are here for this morning. There's a Level 2, and then there's a Google Certified Trainer, which is kind of like the hierarchy of, or at the top of this Google journey. But these will, in order to attain those, though, you're going through this boot camp, and then at the end, there's an opportunity for you to be able to take a certification test that will give you that, I would say, kind of gold status of being a Google Certified Educator. But for today, the focus is on Level 1. And if you click on this Level 1 skills checklist, it actually brings up a list of kind of the core ideas or skills or tasks for that specific program or application within Google. So each of us are going to kind of go through some of these tools, and the goal for today, when you get through this Google journey, and before you take the test, the hope would be that you feel that you're at a point that you can successfully accomplish kind of all of these tasks. And some things you may be better than others, and some of you may already know and do all of these things because it's been a part of what you've been doing for the last few years. And so you can make a copy of this checklist. You can go through and kind of do what you need to do in order to, however you can kind of plot out what you know. But the cool thing is you can actually you can click on these, right click on the boxes and put a check mark if you feel like you've accomplished that task. And that'll just kind of help you keep track of what you need to know. So just going back to the agenda, like I said, this is our focus for today. We're going to go through, show you different resources within Google, give you some challenges, and then kind of walk you through how to do that. We've got a fun morning plan for you. Maria kind of at the end, we'll kind of jump back, but there's an option to allow you to be able to to take this test, and so we'll kind of follow up with you guys on that, as far as helping to support you with that. But yeah, so that's our agenda for today. And then we're going to toss it to Marie. She's actually going to talk really, more in general about the level 1.
Thanks, Brad. Yeah, so what does it mean to be a Google Certified Educator? So really what that means is that it indicates that you can implement Google Apps for Education into your practice to enhance teaching and to enhance learning. The certification was really created for you, the classroom teacher. It's for teachers with a basic understanding of the key features of Google Apps, as well as an understanding of how to meaningfully use and integrate the technology into your classroom. Like Brad was saying earlier, in order to be a Google Certified Educator, you really need to be proficient, have like a basic proficiency in Gmail, Google Calendar, Drives, doc sheets, all of those things that were on that checklist. And also, like Brad said, if you don't feel comfortable or not proficient in those, don't worry, because we are going to show you how you can learn those and how you can study for those. So when you take the test and you demonstrate your proficiency, you're going to receive a Google Level 1 badge, which validates your learning, and you can display that on your blog, on your email, on your website. And I know that we do that, us as certified level 1, 2, and trainers, we do that. You know what? It's a great way for you to demonstrate your ability to teach with Google tools. And not only that, but having that certification and that background knowledge really puts you as a mentor or even a go-to person on your campus. So I think it's a really invaluable and unique and great opportunity for you. I know that Norm had mentioned in the chat about the Canvas course space, but I wanted to go ahead and just address that for you right now. You do have a Canvas space on your dashboard for this webinar. And let me just let you know that there is no work for you to be done. There's no assignments. It's really just a repository of the resources and information that we're giving to you today. So there'll be a link to this presentation, a link to the checklist and the agenda, and some other stuff in there. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew about that. Anyway, so that's pretty much the all-encompassing basics around what it means to be a Google Certified Educator and what it can do for you. And I'm going to actually turn it over to Lauren now.
Okay. All right. So Marie had spoken about what it is and what it entails, but I'm going to go ahead and give you 10 reasons as to why you would want to become a Google Certified Educator. Why invest your time? Why work so hard towards this? Okay. So the first reason is to gain confidence with digital learning strategies and Google tools. There are so many possibilities with Google, and you will want to gain the confidence to use these tools so you can transform learning and you can promote 21st century skills. Reason number 2 is to facilitate and inspire student learning and creativity. There are many engaging and creative ways to do this, and Google has apps and tools such as Google Drawings, Google Slides, Google Jamboard. And number 3, create a paperless classroom. And I'm sure we're all familiar with Google Classroom. This user-friendly platform for teachers and students is always getting better and better because Google is always adding more features to Google Classroom, and it's awesome. Number 4, collect data and increase feedback loops. Now you can do this using Google Sheets. You can help yourself and other teachers visualize and analyze student data, and that data is great to bring with you to your PLC or grade level meetings, and you can look over that data to drive your next steps for instruction. Number 5, learn how to find answers and learn where to get support. Now, while you're preparing for this exam, you're going to learn that there are various ways and various platforms and forums that Google has, such as the Google Help Center, Google Education Help Forums. You could also join a Google Educator group in the area. There is one for Arizona. And when you know where to go, it helps you save time, and then you can impress your colleagues by having those instant answers for them. Number 6, increase digital citizenship and digital literacy skills in the classroom. By using Google tools, you're promoting positive online behavior. You're teaching students how to give creative credit. You're teaching them how to use and evaluate information on the internet. Number 7 is increase efficiency and save time. And just going Google makes you able to do that. It makes you increase productivity and retrieve information more easier, and just saves time. Number 8, engage in professional growth and leadership. And that's what you're all doing right here by being a part of this. Right now, you're learning how to become a prepare for the Google Certified Educator Exam Level 1, but you can continue your journey and prepare for Level 2, or even strive further and try to become a certified trainer. Also, by doing this, you're enabling yourself to become a leader on your campus. And in that case, you can encourage your colleagues to do the same, and possibly go forward with their Google certification as well. Number 9, prove your skills. And that's exactly what you're doing by taking this exam. This exam is not easy. You need to study and focus, and you'll see that as we get into it. And lastly, get the badge and join the family. It's an accomplishment. It's something to be proud of, and you definitely should celebrate your success with others. And those are 10 good reasons, and I'm sure there are many more reasons as to why you would want to become a Google Certified Educator. And now I'm going to turn it over to Norm. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lauren.
Okay.
So I wanted to just talk about the fact that all of you are here. So basically you're motivated. There's at least some motivation there to become a Google Certified Educator Level 1, because you signed up for this webinar. You wanted to be here. So you're here. That's the number one thing to become one, is just to be motivated. You can do this. You've been using probably Google products in your classroom for the last however many years you've been teaching, in, at least in Mesa, because we are such a Google centric district. We use a lot of Google products. We use Google Drive, Google Classroom, Google Docs. We use a ton of Google. We also use Microsoft too, but we use a lot of Google. So you're here. So that's definitely something that's, you're motivated. One of the things to know about how to become a Google Certified Educator Level 1 is what Lauren said. You have to take the test. So right now I'll tell you, the test is 3 hours long. You may not take the entire time when you're doing the test. When I took it, this was last year when I took it, it took me 2 hours and 40 minutes, so almost 3 hours. And most of the test is task-based. So today, in a little bit, we're going to start doing some challenges that you're going to do at home on your own, and then you're going to try to do them, because these tasks that we're going to give you to do are basically mirrors of the ones that you would find on the Level 1 test. When you take the Level 1 test, you do have to basically sign an electronic NDA, non-disclosure agreement, that you will not tell anyone what's on the test. So none of us today can tell you what's on the test. However, we can tell you, generally what the test is about. So that's what we're doing today. So the fundamentals training from Google is one of the best tools you'll use to really brush up on your Google skills. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this link just to show you what that's all about. So this is the Teacher Center from Google. It's a training center. So I highly recommend, all 4 of us highly recommend you use this before you take the test. And when you go down, when you get into the Teacher Center, you'll scroll down and you have 2 tracks here: Educator Level 1, Educator Level 2. So all 4 of us are Google Certified educators. So the way we did that, the way we became Google Certified trainers is that we had to take the level 1 test. After you take the level 1 test, you then take the level 2 test. So after level 2, then you can apply to become Google Certified Trainer. So you would start off with the Educator Level 1 Training Center. I highly recommend you sign in using your MPS Google account, your MPS email account, because it keeps track of where you're at. This training is not something you can go through in just a couple of hours. It takes quite a while. So you'll want to come back to it often. And so sign in and it will keep track of where you left off. You have these different modules here on the left-hand side for the training, and it tells you in the upper right corner of each unit how long each lesson is. So you can see it's quite extensive. And I did go through all of this, as did Marie, Lauren, and Brad, when we got the level 1 test and passed it. So this was the best preparation for becoming level 1 certified, is going through this teacher training center. And it really does teach you a lot about how to use Google products for education. All the different things within this are education based. So you'll get scenarios, you'll get tasks to do, and they're all having to do with using Google products as an educator. So they're not in a vacuum, they're not for business or anything like that. It's all teacher based. Okay, so highly recommend you use the Teacher Center for everything. Okay, and let me go back here. And then the test. Let me talk a little bit about the test. So the test is 3 hours long. It does cost $10 to take. When you register for the test, you have 1 week between the time you register for it and the time you take it. If you register for it and you don't take it within that week-long period, your time limit expires. If you fail the test, you do have, I think, 2 weeks before you can take it again. And if you fail it again, then you have 6 months that you have to wait before you can take it again. So please be aware of those issues with the test. The test, when you're taking it, you will have to have a webcam. It doesn't mean that Google is recording you or that they're looking at you while you're taking the test. It is a little intimidating, but you do have to have your webcam on the entire time. They just want to make sure for security purposes, for test security purposes, that it's you taking the test. And so they do ask you at the beginning, you have to just take a quick picture with your webcam of yourself so they know it's you, and then you just leave it on. And there's no one monitoring you while you're doing it. They just want to make sure that it's you, though. And you can get up and take breaks, but the time just keeps going. So you can't pause the test or anything like that. Once your 3 hours starts on that test, the clock starts ticking, and you do have that 3 hour time limit. So if you need to use the bathroom or something like that, just be aware that does cut into your 3 hours. The test, I would say about 10 to 20% of it is multiple choice. The rest of it, I would say a good 80%, 75 to 80% of it is task-based. And that's what we're going to do in a little bit. We're going to do some tasks in different Google apps to see how well you know them. If you can do these pretty easily, I highly recommend going through this teaching center, the Teacher Center from Google for Education, and just going through each of these units and seeing what you know and don't know. One of the great things here in this Teacher Center is that they do have tests for you to take. Nobody else will see them or anything like that. They're just practice tests, and they mirror the items that are on that level 1 test. So it's a really good way to prepare for that test. Okay. And I'm going to go back here. And did I miss anything, guys?
I don't think so, Norm. I think you did a great job there.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything about the test, because it is so important to know what you're getting into with that test, with that level 1 test. And one thing, oh yes, one question that people have asked before is, when do you get the results of your level 1 test? Right after you take the level 1 test and submit it, you get the results back within about 5 to 10 minutes. So you'll get a notification whether you pass the test or not. Unfortunately, they don't really give you feedback as to what you got right or what you got wrong. So it doesn't really tell you how you did in terms of that. It's just basically pass, fail. and you'll know if you passed or failed. Okay.
Norm,
Yeah.
do we want to mention that when they take the test, it's with a testing account, it's not with their Mesa Public Schools account? Google generates a test account for them.
Yes, that's a good point, Lauren. So when you take the test, Google will generate basically a dummy domain. We are on the @mpsaz.org domain in Google. Okay, the students are in the @students.mpsaz.org domain in Google. Google will create an entire dummy domain for you, and it will be like @12345abc.com or something like that, or .org. So they will create that for you. So you will not be using your own account. They'll create it for you when you take the test, and everything you do will be in that. So they'll do that for you, though. You don't have to worry about setting that up or anything. They'll do all of that for you. Okay, so some great questions there, or great answers. Thank you, Lauren. All right, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Marie.
Okay, all right, so this is where we're going to start with those challenges that are going to mirror some of the situations or the scenarios on the Certified Educator Level 1 test. So this is our first challenge, and it's a Gmail challenge. I don't know about you guys, but I use my email or my Gmail just about every day. Actually, I do use it every day, hundreds and hundreds of times a day. And I know that since we've been, last quarter, we were remote, I'm sure that you guys got pretty proficient in email. However, there's a couple things in email that that are important for you to know. So this is our first challenge. The first thing that we need to do, or that I'm asking you to do, is to create a label called Google Bootcamp. You're also going to need to find that email that was sent to you. I think it was sent by me, and it had the live stream link in it, and you need to add that Google Bootcamp label to it. The third part of this challenge is to change your inbox to see all of the unread messages at the top, and don't worry, you can change it back. All right, so I'm gonna give you guys about 5 minutes to do this challenge. I'm gonna leave this slide up here. So up in a new tab, if you're not on 2 monitors, you're probably just gonna wanna open up a new tab and your email, and I will go over all this at the end. So here we go, good luck. Okay, I'm back. Wow, some of you guys, I was looking at the chat as we were going through. I mean, some of you, it was like seconds, and that is awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna run through a couple ways that you can create labels. And I'm gonna show you how you can change your inbox right now. So I'm gonna go over to my email here. And the first thing that we needed to do was to create a label. And I can go ahead and do that. I'm going to show you that in just a second. But remember, the second part of this was to find that email that I sent to you about that Google Bootcamp that had the link in it. So I'm actually going to do that first. And the reason why is because I don't know about you guys, but if you look right here on my screen, I have 10,000 and more emails in my inbox. I am, we have an MPS account. We have a school account. So I think we have unlimited space in our email. So I actually took advice from Norm, because I used to, archive and delete and do all of this stuff. But since we have unlimited space, I just leave it all in there. So I need to know how to search for these emails. And so what I do is I'll go up here to search and I'll say from me, because I know that email is from me. And when I hit enter, so these are all these emails that I've sent. And I'm just looking down and I can, that's Blended Learning Program of Study, complete. I know I just saw this here a little while ago. And I'm just going down some more. That's my voucher code. And I know I just saw it just the other day. Well, then I'm going to actually go here and I'm going to put in a subject, Google Journey. And then I'm going to search. And here's all these, you can see here's all of these emails with a link to the Google Journey. And here's the one that I'm looking for. So I'm going to click on that and open it. All right. So now that I have it open, there's a way that you can just really quickly add a label to it. So say you got an email from your administrator or from a professional development coach, and you want to have that labeled, then you can just open up that email and you're going to hover here to these icons above the email. And the one over here to the right says labels. So I'm going to click on that. And if you don't have a label that's already called Google Bootcamp, then you would go to create new. But I do have a label that's called Google Bootcamp because I created one in the last Google Bootcamp that we did. So I'm going to scroll down and click on Google Bootcamp. Once I do that, I hit apply. So now you can see that not only is this email in my inbox, but it's also in my Google Bootcamp label. I can add additional labels to it. So maybe I wanted to create a new label and I wanted to call this Google Bootcamp Webinar. I can do that as well. So now you can see I can find this email in my inbox, in my label called Google Bootcamp, and my label called Google Bootcamp Webinar. So where are these labels? If you look over here on the left side of your email, you're going to see where it says categories, and there's a little label there. There's a label, I have one for calls, but I also, all of these icons are all labels. So here's my, oh look, there's my Google Bootcamp label. If I click on that, then all of these emails that just popped up, I've labeled with Google Bootcamp. And so if I needed to search for something right away, that's an easy way to do it, to add a label. So that's probably, in my opinion, the easiest way to add a label. But there is another way to add a label as well. And to do that, you're going to go to your settings. So the settings for your email is located all the way over here to the right with that, I call it the settings icon or the settings cogwheel. And you can click on that. And I'm going to go to settings. So once you get into settings, you have all of these tabs at the top that you can adjust your settings for. So here's my labels right here. I click on that and I can see all of my labels that I have in my email. And as I scroll down here, I can create a new one as well. And I would just type in the label name. You could nest it under something. So I had that original label called Google Bootcamp. I could have nested my Google Bootcamp webinar underneath that as well. All right, so that is just a couple ways that you can create labels. And the next part of this challenge was to change your inbox to see all unread messages at the top. So I'm going to go back to my inbox now. And you can see that all of my unread messages are here at the top, but I also want you to, well, and I'll go over that in just a second. So the easiest way to change whether or not you can see your unread emails at the top is to hover over your inbox link right here. And you're going to see that there's a little drop down. If you click on that drop down, then you have these inbox types. So you have default, you have important first. So if you've marked people as important in your email, they'll pop up first. You can do unread first, which is what I have that here. So here's all of my unread first. Notice that all of my unread is up here. And then, oops, that's a lot. And then everything else is down here. So it has a little division there. That stresses me out. So I am going to change it back to my default. So the reason why that stresses me out is because I have a lot of emails that come in from vendors or from blogs that I subscribe to, from different things. Also, I have like all of the people that I follow on Twitter or on YouTube. I get notifications if they've posted something, and I can't have that clutter up my email. So there's something else that I wanted to show you, and it's called configuring your inbox. This is another little side tip. So you can see here that I have primary, and that's my primary inbox. So my most important messages will come here. I also have this tab called social. And this is where I get all of my social media information or my emails. It just dumps right into my social tab. You can see I have stuff here from Google+, from an Instagram account. And then I have this promotions. And this is where I get all of those notifications and emails from blogs, from vendors. So it all comes down into here. And I just don't have time to scroll through all this and read all this in my primary. So I like it to dump into here. If you use Gmail at home for your personal account, this is also great. And I just can't even stress enough how much I love this. So, when you have to enter in your email, if you're like doing some shopping or whatever, all of those emails will go into your promotions tab as well. So that it doesn't clutter up your primary inbox. There's also a forums tab here that I have. And so that's like if I have any like group discussions. So like you can see, I get notifications or emails from the governing board. Sometimes my MPS communications emails come into here. So I know that I like this. Some people don't, Norm, but I'm going to click on to do that. If you don't have this set up already, you can click on that settings icon or cogwheel again, and you just go to configure inbox. So here I am at configure inbox, and you can just select tabs to enable. If you like that, you can do that. You can always make it go back if you don't like it. I love it. I think it's great. And there's one other thing before I move on that I wanted to show you in email. And it's not just in email, but it's in Calendar, it's in Google Docs, but it's this menu here on the right. You can easily access, if you're in your email, you can easily access your calendar by clicking on that little calendar link right here. So here, oh, what do I have going on today? Well, I've got the Google Journey. You can easily access Google Keep if you use Google Keep for notes or note-taking. You can quickly access that there. And then if you use tasks, you can quickly access your tasks here as well. If you don't see this on the right, then you can see where at the bottom, when I hover over this little caret down here, I can either hide that side panel or show that side panel. So those are just a few things in email that I wanted to show you. Something that you might want to consider doing after you finish these challenges, if you get done early, is going back to your copy, oops, not this, but the copy of your checklist and checking those things off that you've done in here quickly and that you know how to do. So that's something else that if you finish early, you might want to go ahead and do that. So I hope you enjoyed this challenge. I love Gmail. I use it all the time. And all right, I am going to turn it over to Lauren, I believe.
Okay, thanks, Marie. All right, who is ready for challenge number 2? Let me get that shared screen up. Okay, for this challenge, we're going to use our Google Drive, and you are going to do the following. First, you're going to create a new folder in Google Drive and name it Drive Challenge Folder. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is open up our Google Drive and do that. Create a folder in Google Drive, name it Drive Challenge Folder. After that, you're going to create a new Google Doc within that folder and name it Drive Challenge Doc. Okay? Next, you're going to set the permissions for that folder to off and shared with specific people. And the only people that we're inviting here are edtechmedia@mpsaz.org. You're going to set the folder permission to can view only because you only want this recipient to have viewing permissions. And then in addition to that, you're going to notify them with an email that you have shared this folder with them. Okay? So I am going to set the timer for 5 minutes, and then you will begin. And good luck. Here we go. Oops. I just want to turn off Okay, we have 10 seconds left. All right. Okay, so now I am going to share my screen. Okay, and we're going to go over exactly what the challenge entailed. The first thing we need to do is create that folder within our drive. So we're in Google Drive, and we're going over to where it says New and Folder. And we're going to create the new folder and name it Drive Challenge Folder. And click Create. Okay, and then you should see your folder appear here in your list, however you have your list, if you have it as grid view or list view, but you'll find that folder there, and then open that folder up. Okay, so within that folder, we're going to create a doc. So we have that folder open. We see that we're there, Drive Challenge Folder. Go over to where it says New, click on that, Google Docs, and you're going to name a new doc, Drive, Challenge Doc. Okay, hit enter and go back here, and you can see if you go back to your drive, within the Drive Challenge folder, you have your Drive Challenge Doc. Now, there are many different ways to share in Google, so I'm going to just show you the first way that I would go ahead and share this. So in my drive here, I found that folder that I just created. Okay, so I could click on it. I could go up here to where this little share icon is, the person with the plus sign, or I can right click here and click on that from the menu here. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to click on it. And one thing, folks, with Google, they change their interface constantly. So this looks a little bit different than what it was maybe a month or so before. At least it's different from the last time that we did this in person. So here is where we want to share with people. We would type that person or recipient's name right here. So it's going to be edtechmedia@mpsaz.org, right? And there it is. Now, notice when I put that in there, it defaulted to editor. Okay, so we want to change that. We don't want them to have editing rights to this folder. We want them to have only viewing rights. So we click on viewer. So now this recipient will only be able to view the folder and view the content within that folder, because how you set the folder, the permissions for that folder inherit the same ones for the documents inside the folder. So here you're going to type a message and notify that recipient with an email. Here is the folder. Okay. Now, just to make sure, this is something new that Google has here on the bottom. Now it shows you what folder you are sharing with this recipient. And yes, that's what we want to share. We want to share the Drive Challenge folder with that person. Okay. So once we do that, we added our note and we will notify that person. This is optional though, and if you don't want to notify that person, you can uncheck that and just share it. But I would suggest that you do, so that person gets the email in Gmail notifying them that something was shared with them by someone else. And then when you are done, you just click send. Okay? And then if you go back here to your folder and you click on it, you could just check to see who that folder was shared with. And there you have it. Okay. I was going to talk a little bit about getting a link and sharing it, but they changed this interface up a lot here. But what you could do, folks, also is you can change the link to whomever you would want it to go to, and then copy that link. And you could also paste it in an email. But notice here that by default, it's set to viewer. You can change it to editor. But in this case, we'd want that to be the viewer. And we could copy this link and paste it in an email. Oop. And send it to a recipient just the same way. So they don't have to go into their drive to do that. They could just open it up when they get that link to the email. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I am going to, I believe, Marie, are you up next?
It's actually me.
Oh, no, sorry about that. Go ahead, thank you.
Oh yeah, no problem. Thank you, Lauren. That was a great challenge about Google Drive.
Thanks.
And you're right, definitely they do change a lot of things in Google.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one of the things about the level 1 test to be aware of, is that, you know, the changes do happen, and the test does try to keep up with all the changes that they made, but there could be little glitches here and there because they do change so much. But try not to worry about those. There was, when I took the test, a glitch with actually a sheet task that they had me do, a Google Sheet task, and it just would not work because in that domain that they created for me just to do the test, it wouldn't send the link, it wouldn't do anything, it just was stuck. And I thought, oh no, I'm gonna get really dinged for that. And fortunately, I just moved past it, I skipped that one. And that's something to be aware of with the test. You can skip items and mark them for review later, kind of like the students have that option with a lot of the different tests they take now online. Skip it, mark it for review, and then you can go back at the end and do those. So just be aware of that. So our next challenge has to do with Google Sheets. So Google Sheets is a lot like Microsoft Excel. If you've never used a spreadsheet application before, they are fantastic, especially in education. We don't think of them as being a really educational tool, but because in education we have so much data that we're constantly collecting and looking at, they are great for slicing and dicing up that data. So for this challenge, you're going to do the following. Okay, and I have it on the screen right now. And yes, I do have that animated GIF because we're almost an hour into this Google Journey webinar. And so it is tough to sit and watch something. So we appreciate you being here and bearing with us. And some of you have mentioned real quickly before I go into this challenge about the sharing with a partner. We apologize, that was in the Canvas resources. And so if you were seeing those earlier, we have updated those and changed those. This was done face-to-face back in February. And so it was easy to at a table share with a partner, but we've changed the directions for all of these challenges. So you're not having to share with anyone next to you because you're at home doing this on your own. So for this challenge, what you're going to do is you're going to type in this URL and make a copy of a sheet. The URL, and if you have the slideshow already up, you just click on this link and it will generate. It's bit.ly/sheets challenge. Bit.lys are a way of shortening URLs. So we use Bit.ly to shorten these long URLs. Like you can see, this presentation is docs.google.com/presentation/d/e, and it just goes on and on. This sheet is also a very long URL. So I went to Bit.ly and just made it way shorter. So it's bit.ly/sheets challenge. And Bit.lys are case sensitive, so make sure to capitalize the S and capitalize the C in Sheets challenge. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on this just so you can see what's going to happen when you get to this URL. Okay, you're going to see this on your screen. And it's going to say, would you like to make a copy of sheet sample data daily check-in responses? You're going to say yes, or you're going to click the blue button, make a copy. And it may take a little bit. And once you've made a copy of it, it will look like this. Okay, and the challenge for you, you have a couple of them. Let me go back to the slideshow. Is on that sheet, you're going to go to column E and create a chart of all the data in column E. And on the test, you do have items like this. So be aware, there are sheets tasks to do that are very similar to this. After creating the chart, move the chart to its own sheet. And finally, the last part of your challenge is to use a function to find the average of how students rated their day in column F. And again, these, if you don't know how to do this, that's okay. This is just kind of testing you, doing a self-test to see what you need to brush up on with your Google skills before you take that level 1 test, if you decide you want to take it. And there is no requirement to take the level 1 test. Just be aware of that. So there were some people asking about that earlier. So go ahead and go for it. Make a copy of the sheet, go to column E, create a chart of all the data. After creating the chart, move the chart to its own sheet, and finally use a function to find the average of how students rated their day in column F. I'm going to go ahead and start the 5-minute timer now. All right, almost time. All right. So we had our 5 minutes to do this challenge, and now what we're going to do is we are going to go over it. And how exactly do you make a chart, put it on its own sheet, and use a function to find an average? So those are the 3 items that you had to do for this challenge. So I'm going to go over to my sheet, and the first item was to go to column E on the sheet and create a chart of all the data in column E. So I have my chart here. I have column E, and this was data actually taken from a junior high classroom here in Mesa Public Schools, and students filled out a Google form each day for a couple of weeks to get this data. And remember, when you fill out a form, it's fed into a spreadsheet, into a Google Sheet. So it's a great way of collecting data. I changed the names of all the students in that class to celebrity names so as to avoid basically, violating privacy. So this is real data. These are obviously not the real people who filled out this sheet. It would have been kind of cool if Oprah and George Clooney and Leonardo DiCaprio and all these guys filled out the sheet, but they did not. But we wanted to see how these students were rating their day, how much time they were spending on social media, all these different things having to do with SEL components, right? So how did you wake up feeling today is the data in column E. I want to create a chart of this data. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and select the entire column. To do that, I'm going to click on the column header up here. So I just left clicked on it, on the letter E there basically. And then I have all these shortcuts up here to different things. I have my menu of items here. I could go to Insert, Chart, but I could also just click on the chart shortcut, which is right here. So I'm going to do that. So I click on Chart, and it sometimes takes a little bit. There it goes. And now it's inserted a chart. And we can see the chart, tired or not feeling well, and a funny or humorous mood, happy, sad. So there's the chart, the basic chart of our data. Obviously, you see that it superimposed it right over our sheet. You can click and drag and move these to where you'd like. You can resize these as well. And you can even use the chart editor to customize them and do all kinds of cool things with them. But in this case, we already did that first part of the challenge. We created the chart. We want to move it to its own sheet. To do that, we click on the 3 dots in the upper right corner. And then we have all these different choices. Edit chart just brings out the chart editor, which is already on the screen. We can download the chart, publish it, copy it. I'm going to move it to its own sheet. So I'm going to select the second to last option. And when I do that, it's created its own sheet within this spreadsheet down here called Chart 1. And I could right click on this chart and rename it if I'd like, but I'm not going to do that. And now I have it in its own sheet. To get back to the sheet with the form responses, I just click on this tab here, or this sheet. These are actually 2 sheets within one spreadsheet. Okay, so we often call these tabs, but they really are different sheets. Okay, so now we have the chart on its own sheet right here. All right, the third part of our challenge, we did the first 2 parts, was to use a function to find the average of how students rated their day. And that data is in column F. So for this one, I'm going to go over to column F, which is right here. And I'm actually going to click and drag over the data. So I'm using the left button on my mouse, and I'm clicking and dragging over those cells. And now I have to find the average. So I need to use a function, the average function. And to do that, the easiest way to do that is just to go over to this symbol here in your menu. This is the function shortcut. If I click on this, it gives me sum, average, count, max, min. So I'm going to select average because those were the directions. And it puts in the formula, the equal sign average, parentheses, F5, which is the cell, F5, so column F, row 5, and then to F33, which is this row right here in column F. And oops, once I click off of it and click back into it, I can see the average right there. Okay, 3.965517241. I hope I read that right. So not too shabby. I mean, the highest they could have rated their day was a 5, but at least it wasn't, between a 1 and 2, or even between a 1 and 3. So that's how they rated their day over a week-long or so period. So that's how you create a function, or how you get to a function very easily, is just to use the functions shortcut right here. Okay, you could also go to data, and you could use that as well to do filters and sorting and all those different things. And you can also type in the formula itself in the formula bar up here. So equal sign average, and then do the column F, the cell 5 is where we started. I guess I didn't start in cell 2, sorry. So it should be cell 2. So some of you may see a different average because you did a different cell. All right, and it's actually 3.8125 because now I'm going from row 2 down to row 33, which is where our data ends. Okay, so 3.8125 is the actual average of those students and how they rated their day. All right, so that was it for the Sheets challenge. And yes, there are items like this on the test. Again, we're not giving you what's on the test because we cannot do that, but we can tell you these are the types of items that you would want to know about. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Lauren now for the next challenge.
Okay, thanks so much, Norm. All right, so the next challenge, folks, is going to be in Google Classroom. So you are going to first need to get into Google Classroom. And number 1, you're going to create a classroom and name it Classroom Fun. Then after you do that, you're going to add a student called EdTech Student at mpsaz.org and add that participant as a student to your classroom. Third, you're going to create an assignment in Classroom and title it Book Report Update. And then after you do that, you're going to set the due date for that assignment for Friday. Okay? So we have 5 minutes. And if you don't mind, Norm, you could set the timer for me because you got that there going. And good luck. And I think everyone will do great on this one. See you in 5 minutes. Okay, almost time is up. All right, folks, let's go over and see how we did. So make sure that you are in Google Classroom. Okay, y'all can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. And once you're in Google Classroom, to create a brand new classroom, we go over to the plus sign here and we click that and we click Create Class.
And Lauren, your screen is showing just the Google Classroom Challenge. It's not showing.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, that's what I had a feeling. Okay, 1 second, guys. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
All right. Here we go. All right, all good? All right. Can you see now, Norm? You got we have the right one up? Okay, great. So again, sorry, folks. We click the plus sign here, right? And we click Create Class. And we are going to name this Classroom Fun. Okay, when creating a class in Google Classroom, you could complete a section, put in a section. I'm going to put summer 2020 and whatever subject you teach or room number, but these things are optional. Okay, and then when we're done with that, we click Create. I think it's taking a minute. Okay, and there we have it, Classroom Fun. Here is our classroom. And the second thing that we have to do is add a student to this class. So we go over here to where it says People. And then over here where it says Students, click over to the right where we have that little icon. Click that. And we're going to type in Ed Tech Student, Ed Tech Student at MPS, and then you'll find that right there. Click that and invite that student. Of course, we know in Google Classroom, we could take the class code and share it with our students as well. That's an option. Okay, so you have that. We created the class, we added the students, and now we're going to create the assignment. We're going to click over here on the Classwork tab, and then go over to where it says Create Assignment. And then click Assignment. And this assignment is going to be called Book Report Update, right? And you have the option of adding instructions for your students, but in this case, we're not. We're just going to do the next thing, and that is to set the due date to Friday. So over here on the right where we have these options, go to where it says Due, click on that, and Friday, well, is, wow, this week already, it's going fast, June 5th, and then you wanted to give a time that's optional, and if not, then just go ahead and click Assign, but you also have the options, folks, to schedule it for a future time or save the draft if you want to go ahead and edit it in the future. But for now, all we're going to do is click Assign. And there you have it. Under Classwork, you'll see that you have your book report assignment. And then you should also see it in the stream here if you have the stream turned on. And there it is, the assignment that has been posted to your Google Classroom. And I have a feeling that everyone did pretty well on this challenge. So thank you so much for that. And I'm going to turn it over to, is it Brad? Thank you.
All right. So, yeah, this is kind of the last challenge for this section. So I hope everyone is doing well, and hopefully by now you kind of see the format of just kind of what we're going through. And these are, like Norma's saying, we can't tell you exactly what's on there, but we try to model these very similar to what their expectations are, for these challenges and for what you need to know, and just some of this and how you need to know it. Because the thing with Google, once again, like Norm was saying, that there's two components. And so not only do they test what you know, but they test like how you know it and apply it. And so that's really what we're trying to do with these challenges, is to get you to understand the both sides of it. So I have the distinct honor of talking about Google Calendar for you. I like Google Calendar. For me, it's probably one of my favorite because it goes beyond. I use it beyond classroom stuff. I use it for personal stuff. You can get it up on your phone. You can. It's just a good tool for organization, but it's also you can use it and integrate every single thing that we've showed you so far. Like you can integrate Google Classrooms and Google Docs and Sheets. You can kind of integrate everything into Google Calendar as your platform for organization. So I'm just going to take a little bit of time and kind of show you, kind of walk you through a challenge. But I want to remind you, like we talked about earlier, is this this checklist. And this is very important once again, as you kind of go through and prepare yourself, especially for what we're going to focus on with Google Calendar. These are all of the components that Google is kind of recommending that you know and understand and how to do, in order to prepare you for the certification. And so not everything that we have done have covered every single component of these. So when we go through a challenge, don't go in with maybe the understanding of, okay, if I can do this, then I'm good. Some of these are expanded in some of the expectations or requirements that they want you to do. So really use this checklist, and when you feel like you've got it, check it and mark it off. But for calendar, you can just see the requirements or their kind of expectations of what it is that they want from you. So as we go through this, we're going to accomplish most of them, but there may be a few that when we're done are still left kind of not that we haven't hit upon those or talked about those. So kind of go through, and once I finish this challenge, go through and see all the ones that are left for you. So for this challenge today, and like I said, most of you have probably used Google Calendar in some way or you've interacted with it. So for most of you, this challenge might be something that is fairly simple just because it's been done. We've used it frequently, especially now with just our non-physical interaction. Everything is done. We are scheduling events. You're being invited for meetings. It's being used like crazy. So, anyways, the challenge for you today is a few things. Step one is I'm going to have you go into your Google Calendar. You're going to create 2 events, and you're going to call one of them Level 1 Practice and another one Level 1 Test. The next one is, once you create those events, you're actually going to invite a separate coworker to each event. Now, I know for all the other challenges they used EdTech Media, I love inviting coworkers because for just a few seconds, these coworkers are thinking they're invited to something or missing. Like I invited my coworker, he texts me like 2 seconds later, hey, did I miss something? So I really just invite someone to mess with them. Make up the events and invite them just to mess with them, and make up some random like high profile important meeting, invite them to it, and then let them simmer on it and see what they think. So, and then you can delete it when you're done. But you're going to invite a coworker to each event, and then the final step is to create a Google Doc. You're going to call it Level 1 Study Guide, and then you're going to actually attach it to that calendar event. Okay, so 5 minutes. That's your challenge, and we'll chat about it when you're done. All right. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully this process was fairly simple for you, as it might be some of the, I wouldn't say easier tasks or challenges, but it is fairly simple to do. I was just thinking right now, what the funny thing in Google Calendar, you can actually create an event that would have already occurred. Like you can go back in time. So I was thinking of this. It would be really messed up if you created an event like from yesterday and added a meeting time and then shared it with someone and then said, "Hey, I saw that you missed that meeting I invited you to." So you could you can actually like kind of go back and create events in the past. So not that I would recommend doing that, but something something funny that you could do. But so anyways, yeah, our the challenges for today, once again, we're just kind of utilizing the primary function of Google Calendar, which is to create events, invite coworkers to those events, and then attach a document to that event, such as an agenda. So we're going to walk through this very quickly. And I like this GIF because this, I hope, and maybe not for everybody, but for me, that's kind of how I feel like time has gone by. Like the pages of the calendar are just like, there goes April, there goes May, and now we're already into June. And so it kind of feels a lot like that. So once again, just going back to referencing our checklist again, as we go through these, if you feel like you're comfortable with that task, you can right click and then insert a check to say, hey, I've completed that, if you feel good. So it's just a visual way for you to kind of go through those specific components for Google Calendar, but not only Google Calendar, but all the other components that have the potential to be, I guess, assessment material. But these are just things that they want you to know. And if you notice too on here, there are some components that we haven't gone over and that we won't go over today. So just make sure you just spend some time kind of going through those as this is the last challenge for that. So our once again, our events for today. So if you open up Google Calendar and you can type in Google or calendar.google.com and it will take you to there. You can also get to it by opening up your email and clicking on the apps grid and opening it that way. So in our Google Calendar, there's kind of a couple of ways to do this, and most of you will just find you're going to utilize whatever way is easiest for you. So for on this first part, I'm going to just kind of toggle back and forth, but we're going to create two events and call them level 1 practice and level 1 test. So you can actually just click on anywhere in the calendar, wherever the date and time is, you can just click on it and you can start writing in whatever it is the event. So we're going to do level 1 practice. And all I have to do is hit enter and it puts it right in there. And if you notice too, I'm clicking exactly where it is I want in that day and time. So just because I if I click anywhere, it's going to put it wherever I'm clicking. Level 1 test. Okay. The cool thing is if I put it in the wrong spot, I can just kind of click and drag it and move it over. Okay. So that's the first way. That's probably the way that most people put events in calendar, but you can also go up to this button that says create. And this takes you to the exact same thing. Now, if you notice, it kind of puts it, when I do it this way, it puts it to the closest kind of time period that we're at. So I can put it right here as well. And I can do level 1 practice and it'll put it right there. So just keep that part in mind. But most people probably just click on the calendar and put in their events that way. So that's step 1. The second one is to invite a coworker to each event. So like this one, level 1 practice, I'm going to invite someone. And once again, there are several ways that you can do this. You can do this after you've created the event. So you can create the event first, click on it. You have to click this little pencil icon to edit it to get into kind of the settings of that event. So from right here, I'm going to go and click add guests. And I love messing with Mr. Zach Blair. He's my coworker at Skyline. And so when I did this earlier when we were practicing, he was freaking out, wondering like what was going on and if he needed to be there to it. So like I said, this just goes along with that kind of messing someone. We just do it for fun. So you click on that, it pops up with his name, and then you can go ahead and save it. And what it's going to ask you, it's just going to say, are you sure, you're going to invite this, do you want to send them an email? If you don't send them one, it automatically kind of invites them, not necessarily without them knowing, but it adds them to that. So sometimes it's nice to hit send, because it will send them, an invite saying, hey, you've been invited to this event. So the other way, if I don't have the event already made, is kind of starting from scratch. I would go here, I would put in practice one, and then right here where it says add guests, I could put it in that way. So it's if you want to do it all at once, or if you want, make the event first and then go back and do it later. So you can do it that way as well. So, and then I'm not going to send it. So that would be kind of the multiple ways of how you would accomplish that task. Then the last part is to create a Google Doc, and you're going to call it Level 1 Study Guide. And this is where we would, if like we're creating a PLC meeting and we want to add an agenda to it. Okay, this is kind of where this function would work best, but sometimes you can attach anything Google related to a calendar event. So I'm going to go to a calendar event. I think this one, it's set to the Level 1 Study Guide. So I'm going to open up the practice event. I'm going to hit the edit button. And then down here, you see this little paperclip icon. This is where you add an attachment. So here was the study guide. I created just a random study guide in Google Docs. And then from here, I can just click on this little icon. Once it comes up, Level 1 Study Guide, this is what I want to attach. And then I just hit select. And then from there, I go ahead and hit save. And it's going, once again, every time I do a change in Google Calendar, it's going to ask me to update something, or it's going to ask me, do I want to send an email update to all of my participants in that? So you can send it or not send it, totally up to you. So see, and then when you do this, it says you want to give them permission for that file. And that's kind of our tasks with Google Calendar. And once again, I'm just going to remind you again, just make sure that you're checking over that skills checklist, to make sure that once we get done with these, that you feel like you're confident, enough to be able to master all of those tasks and checklists. And then by that time, if you feel pretty good about that, I don't think any of the four of us would have any hesitation with you kind of moving to the next step. So. And with that, I think we will toss it to our last kind of focus for this morning.
All right, thanks, Brad. So what we're going to do now is we've done a lot of different challenges that mirror the types of tasks that you have on the Level 1 test. You can see they're very much, you're applying your knowledge to those different Google apps. There is a multiple choice version or a multiple choice portion of the Level 1 test as well. So now we're going to do a little bit of that. So you will have different multiple choice items on that test. Again, it's only about 20% of the test or so. So we're going to do quizzes. If you've never used quizzes before, it's a great web application. You can use it on your phones. The students can use it. You can use it on your desktop computer, on your laptop, whatever you're wanting to use it from. It's device agnostic, meaning it works great on anything. So you are going to type this into your browser. You can do this if you're watching from a phone as well. joinmyquiz.com/pro. Okay, it's right there on your screen. You're going to use this join code, and I hear little bubbles, meaning people are joining right now. 505395. I looked it up last week, and then apparently Quizzes says that 500 people can join one live game. So we're going to test it out and see if that's true or not. I hope all of you can get in. Remember, there's about 200 of you or so watching right now. So we definitely want you all to be in this game. You're going to take it at your own pace, but I am going to show a leaderboard. Okay, so make sure you use appropriate names. This is the same thing you would do with your students. Use appropriate names when you're going in there. And I will start the game in about 30 seconds or so. So I hear a lot of you joining, and I'm going to go over to my quizzes tab, And I can see lots of people are joining. You can use first names, first initials, whatever you want to use. This is just for you to practice. Okay. So we're up to 104 people, 105. I'm going to stop this around, I think there's, as of right now, 177 people live right now. So let's see if we can get you all in. And on this quiz that you're going to take, it's all self-paced. We're not going to spend a lot of time with it because of the fact that I don't want to go over the 2-hour time limit that you were promised today. So I will spend probably, I'll give you a good 10 minutes to go through the questions. Do not worry if you don't finish. The object of this is just to see the types of questions that could be on that level 1 test for Google. And again, Brad mentioned that checklist. I mentioned the Teacher Center. Those are great resources. And you can find these quizzes just by going into quizzes.com, Q-U-I-Z-I-Z-Z.com, and then just typing Google Level 1. That's the way I found this one. We did not create this. Teachers create all kinds of quizzes, and you can reuse any that you want. They have all subjects: math, ELA, science, social studies. They have everything. If you've never used quizzes before, it's a great, great platform. And it's free to educators, so that's one of the really nice things too. So we're up to about 150. I'm going to go ahead and start the game because, again, I don't want to not respect your time. I want to be respectful of your time, so I'm going to go ahead and start the game now. Okay, and if you didn't get in, that's okay. You can watch on the screen as people go. So the leaderboard will be projected. Here we go. I'm going to press start. Maybe. Let's see if it will let me start. There it goes. Okay, it's doing a countdown, and you have a leaderboard. You can start on yours. Again, we'll give you about 10 minutes to do this. We'll do about another 2 minutes. And again, no worries if you didn't get into the game or if you don't know a lot of the answers. It's just things to concentrate on. Okay, about 1 minute left. Okay, about 10 seconds left and I'm going to end the game, just to respect your time. We just have a few things left to do, and then we'll be done. All right, I'm going to press end. All right, so looks like on our leaderboard, PQ's way up there. And it's not wanting me to end the game, but we are going to end it. So I'll just X out of it. There we go. All right, hopefully you did well on that. And again, that was just quizzes. If you're watching the recording of this broadcast, you won't be able to join that game, so please be aware of that. That was quizzes, a live game. And again, if you're watching the recording, you can always go to quizzes.com, type in the search field in quizzes, Google Level 1 certification, and you can find there's quite a few of those in there, and you can test yourself that way through there as well. Okay, so that was quizzes. And again, that was to mirror some of the multiple choice items that are on the Level 1 test. All right, the next thing we wanted to go to, oh yeah.
I was going to say, would you mind just sharing my screen really quick so that before they hit that attendance, I can just show them just a couple things. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, we're just about done, you guys, but I just wanted to remind you about a couple things. The number one thing I want to remind you about is a voucher code. So I do have a limited amount of voucher codes available for the Google Certified Level 1 test. I don't have enough for all 300 or 170 of you. So if you go through the training and you are serious about taking the test, I do have a voucher code. The caveat to that is that they do expire on June 30th. Once I give you that voucher code and you register for the test, or I should say once you register for the test, you have a week to complete the test. So that voucher is good for a week after you register with it. The other thing that I wanted to let you guys know about is that you can get recertification hours for the amount of time and the learning that you do in the Google for Education Teacher Center. So on the bootcamp participant agenda, I have information down here as to how to receive your voucher code. And then once you do complete that, that training in the Google Teacher Center, fill out this form here, and you can get recertification for that. So I wanted to let you guys know that. The other thing, one more thing, is that this is the Canvas course space. that is located on your dashboard. This will be available to you at all times. It might get pushed down in your to your previous courses, but if you want some resources, I have links. We have links to everything that we've shown you today: the presentation, the agenda, the teacher center. Any of the information that we shared with you today is here as well. So there was a couple people that said, will I be able to go back and view this this recording? And absolutely, yes, you can go back and review the recording. Yes, so I just wanted to make sure that you guys had that information and access to that. And then, so I'm going to go ahead and have you fill out your Google Journey attendance. It's another bit.ly, so it's bit.ly/Google Journey attend. Make sure that you capitalize the G, J, and A because it is case sensitive. So it is Google Journey attend. And I don't know, Norm, if you can put that in the chat as well.
Yeah, I'll chat it down in there right now.
And the reason why is because I think we're kind of getting close to our time, and I want to make sure that we can there. So it's in the chat. So it's bit.ly/Google Journey attend. And I'm going to go ahead and start with Brad so he can wrap things up.
Yeah, so we would just like to say thank you again for everyone participating. I know this was kind of a new and dynamic way of presenting something like this. You know, a lot of these things you want them to be kind of in person, face to face, just with that interaction. But hopefully we can model some different tools for you guys that you can use with your kids and your learning scenarios. But I'm you know, as all of us, we're happy to do this for you guys. But if you want to reach out to at least me, you can follow me on Twitter, you can email. But I just wanted to say thank you again for being a part of this and for helping us kind of try new things and experience new things. But anything that you need from me, you know, for I kind of cover the skyline and everything under that pattern, you know, reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you.
Yes, thanks. Go ahead, Norm.
Oh, okay. And again, Norm Peckham from EdTech. I have schools assigned mainly on the west side of Mesa: Keno Junior High, Edison, Eisenhower, Roosevelt, Kerr. Those are basically Whittier. Those are my schools. But I'm also happy to help with anything I can. And again, follow us on Twitter. That's a great way to get into PLNs, Professional Learning Networks, on Twitter. There's a ton of EdTech gurus on there. Eric Kurtz is a great one. He's the one who came up with that skills checklist. Casey Bell, those 10 things that Lauren mentioned, Casey Bell totally has that on Twitter. So lots of really cool EdTech gurus on there to follow. And hopefully us too, follow us. And I'll give it to Lauren.
Thank you so much for being here today, folks. We really hope that you enjoyed this Google journey and hope that you do decide to take the level 1 certification. I have to say that I myself just passed the level 1, the level 2, and became a certified trainer in a matter of 3 months. Boom, boom, boom. I just got it and knocked it out of the way, and it was quite a journey, and it feels like an enormous accomplishment. And I really encourage you to do the same if possible. I support Hermosa Vista, Hughes, Ishikawa, MacArthur, Poston, and Eagle Ridge Academy. And I'm more than happy and available to work with you if your goal is to take this test and pass this test, or just help you with anything you need regarding Google tools and the Google realm itself. And again, thank you so much for participating. We hope you have a wonderful summer.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you as well. You know, Marie Smith again. I support Red Mountain, Shepherd, Fremont, Mesa Academy, and who knows what else in the future. So please reach out to any of us and reach out to your EdTech trainers. You know, we're not all certified trainers, but we're all at least level 1 certified. So any of us can help you. And I hope you guys have a wonderful and safe summer. And hopefully we'll see you in the fall on campus.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we can put the attendance form into that Canvas course space as well. So if you did not see the attendance form and Marie put it back on the screen, just type in bit.ly/Google Journey Attend. It's crucial that you fill this out if you're part of the program of study, because you need to fill this out so you get credit for having watched this broadcast. So make sure you fill that out. Okay, and with that, we're done. So thank you all for watching.
Thank you, guys. Have a great summer.
Take care.
Bye.